I now call the Crosby Township Board of Trustees regular meeting to order for September 11th, 2023. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Since this is the 22nd anniversary of 9/11, we're going to pause for like 30 seconds to remember all those died that day and those who have suffered physically and mentally since then. Thank you. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Lohman,
Here.
Mr. Hyam,
Here.
Mr. Hyas,
Here.
Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting held August 14th, 2023. Roll call.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I guess you need to. Oh, okay.
Mr. Lohman,
Yes.
Mr. Hyam, do you abstain on that? Mr. Hyas,
Yes.
Approval to pay the bills as have been presented over the past month.
So moved.
I second it.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Hyas,
Yes.
Correspondence. Okay, there was a Board of Health meeting today at 4 p.m. There's a WestJed meeting October 5th at 5:30 in Miamitown next to the firehouse. That's a public meeting. Everyone's invited. It's held every quarter. Hamilton County Public Health is granting mini grants to public school districts up to $35,000 for COVID-related items, and the deadline is October 2nd to register. Ohio Township Association, starting in '24, for $250 a year, we would have access to new and archived webinars, and all officials and employees have access. So we would just have to pay it just once for the township, and then anybody here could use it. But that's something new that they're starting next year.
for what it's worth, I'm gonna recommend that that's something we end up doing, because now that you're getting caught up on state audits, we're gonna get dinged for that. So and it's training that not just the financial office but also the trustees needs to do as well, like training related to records, stuff that we all have to do.
Should we vote on it now or wait till closer?
No, it's just going to be, I don't think so. I mean, as you said, I mean, it's starting next year.
Yeah,
it's
we'll
something
bring it
that
up
we'll
later.
appropriate for in the budgeting
Okay.
process and take care of that way. Just something to keep in mind.
And then that Tim Zellick, I never heard back from him, so I will reach out to him again. He said he would be available next month from Hamilton County Parks. We got a thank you letter from the Board of Elections just for using our facility for the August election. And I think that's all I have. Dennis?
Hang on a second if you could.
Okay, I got a hold of county engineer's office, and it looks like Fort Scott should be looking at getting paved sometime towards the end of September. Barrett said that they thought around September the 18th, but I'm just going to say towards the end of September. as far as talk to Jackson from DWA out here on our new
Shelter?
shelter. I couldn't think of shelter. And they're getting all their permits done, and they were getting hung up for something, and I think it was the Board of Health wanted to they had to get a permit that was in the floodplain, and even though there's no plumbing to it or anything, they were gonna have to come out and inspect it to make sure that, there was no violations. So there was a hang up on that, but right now I think everything is going ahead. They're waiting for the final approval, and that's where that's at. And that's pretty much all I have for correspondence.
Thanks, Dennis. When did you say they were supposed to start on, or they haven't really said yet?
No, they haven't said yet.
Just working on it.
Yeah, once they get all the permits, and, because he wasn't gonna give me a start date on it because, it takes a
Because of
while to
that.
get everything, so as soon as I find out something, you'll know.
Okay. Chuck?
Yeah, next Monday at 4 o'clock, Ryan Home, across from Fort Scott, having an open house. They're having a ribbon cutting, so we are invited to that.
That's pretty much just the dignitaries in the
Right,
area,
that's,
not open to
Township and
the public,
Trust-
as
right.
far as I know.
Right. And then October 6th and October 7th, Bud Herbert Motors having an open house. They do that every year. Yeah, I went to that in the past. So, and I think probably Mike would probably go to that. So, October 6th and October 7th. Let's see. Now, I also got something from Energy Allowance. They gave me a quarterly report for the last 2 years. This is for people who sign up for Energy Allowance. If you got Duke, you have that option. If you for the last 2 years, the total everybody saved is like $241,000. I think $892. It's hard to read. Average, everybody they save about $275. So not a lot of money, but all depend on the cost of energy. Lucky, so. I guess Premier Energy, we got a statement. They could vote on that tonight.
Yeah, I had
So they got a letter that came in the mail August 2024. You got that coming up
Yeah,
later?
I had it for maintenance, but we can talk about it now.
Okay.
So you said we need to vote on that?
Yeah, I would need to vote on that. So I don't know, do it now, I'll do it later.
Do you have it, Dennis?
You got a copy?
Yeah, I have it.
I guess Brian might have a copy.
What do you want to, are you making a motion then, or?
Yeah, I guess I go ahead and make a motion. A contract for a year, the fall and winter, 2023 and 2024. The price is $1.699 per gallon. This is for October 1st through March the 31st, 2024. It is for
We need to know how many gallons did we use last year?
Doesn't say that on
It
it.
doesn't say that.
I know it doesn't say it,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I
you have
don't,
to figure out.
Yeah, anything over that is 10 cents per gallon charge. So, it all depend on, I guess, how cold it is this winter. So,
Well, last year we did the same, we did a prepay.
typically do a prepay for an
Yeah.
amount.
So I would take and look that up and see how many gallons we prepaid.
Is there some kind of, Is there some kind of like deadline that they wrote on that or anything?
No.
Because I,
We did not prepay last year. They didn't give us the prepay option.
Oh, didn't we do a
I
prepay?
don't think we did either.
Normally we did, but last year they had a screw up. And we told them how many, I think it was 5,500 gallons they offered us at the price. And they bill us monthly instead of us prepaying because
Oh,
they
yeah.
screwed up.
but it was still a like an amount.
Yeah, there's a dollar amount per cubic foot or whatever. And I think last year they offered us 5,500 cubic feet, gallons or whatever
Gallons.
at their price.
Well, I think probably a safe amount would be 5,000 gallons. And lock in that price. You don't have to pay until you use it.
Right.
Because they were doing the same thing to me out there. I had the same discussion with them. And so all you have to do is figure out how many gallons and sign the contract, and then they'll bill you as you're using the gallons. They don't take any money up front anyway.
So you want a maximum amount of 5,000?
I would say that's probably a safe amount.
Yeah, I think last year, the last 2 years we had done 5,500, but I don't ever think we use that much.
Really?
It's been, we've had, like last year we had that one really cold snap in December, and then it was pretty mild
Yeah, it depends on the winter.
Yeah, depends.
the rest of the winter. And we've had it, we've had some years where we, tore through it, and
I mean, you could keep
Every
it
year.
5,500. It's just a max.
it's just a contract price for that amount.
Right.
It's funny because nowhere on here it says propane in it. But I'm sure that's what I know that's what it is, but they never.
So I'd make a motion that we do a $5,000, 5,000 gallon contract at 1.699 per gallon for the 23-24 winter season.
I second it then.
Do you want me to sign for it, or does someone would probably have to sign it whenever they have the contract?
Well, they'll send the contract, yeah, and then you
Okay.
can sign it, you're the pres.
Okay.
It may. Yeah,
It's set-
I guess, yeah. I was gonna say it may be something that. It's just trying. I'm thinking out loud. If it's something that, if you do the motion to approve, if it's something that I could sign. What do you think, Alan?
Well, I can sign it when you get it. Doesn't matter.
Just, I mean, a motion is all you need, I think, for the record, so.
Okay.
All I say, the following prices are subject to change at any time. Gallons are limited. A contract will be mailed for your records. So,
All right.
What was the? It was
6.99.
1.699.
So you want to make up to
Is there a second on that? I didn't hear.
Yeah,
Chuck seconded it. Roll call.
up to 5,000, right?
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Lohman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes. Also, got a letter from ICRC-TV, August 16, 2023. They're not going to send a DVD to us anymore. You need to go online to a cloud. It's an ICRC cloud called MP4. They said it cost too much, and they said it's hard to find DVD. I don't know how hard it is to find DVD, but
They're still going to continue to put the meetings on our website, so they'll be out there. That you don't have to go to the cloud if you don't want to.
so that's starting in September. So through August, I guess we still got DVDs. So
It's just that for their archives right now, when they're archiving, everything was on a DVD. And now they're going to the cloud and they're doing away with the DVD, so they don't have the storage problem.
Well, Also, they would send it to us as well. I've got a stack, like, huge,
Yeah.
of the DVDs that I would get from ICRC.
Yeah.
I think I've used them twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got a letter, an email, I guess, August the 16th from Hamilton County Auditor. I guess everybody know if you own a house or a business, they reappraise your property. They do it every 6 years. The state of Ohio determine the value. Basically, they said the final value will be on their website in December 2023. The website is www.hamiltoncountyauditor.org. Hamilton County Auditor is one word. And if you disagree with it, you can file a complaint with the Board of Revision between January 1st and March 31st, 2024.
We already got those letters in the mail.
And I think
All went up.
they all went up, and I think they're going to be overwhelmed by what's going to happen. So, and I think that's it. So,
All right, thanks, Chuck.
See this?
No. Okay. Well, so,
Eventually.
the sheriff detail, Brian Peak will be here, but he's running late, so we'll skip it and come back to it after he gets here. He should be here around 8 o'clock. So public at large, JB, if you want to go up there and say who you are and where you're from and tell us what you got.
Good evening. My name is J.B. Ward. I work for Fifth Third in our downtown office, specifically in the capital markets group down there in institutional investments. So we work with a lot of the bank's commercial clients on the investment side, particularly a lot of public entities. So cities, school districts, counties, townships, we work with them all. I had gotten a call from our banking representative that Chuck had reached out to him looking for some investment ideas, and so I was in touch with Chuck. He asked me to come out here and talk about some of the options we offer, especially with rates being so high these days. So in your world, you can really only invest according to the Ohio Revised Code, which really is U.S. Treasury bonds, federal agency bonds, commercial paper, government money market funds, and bank CDs. A lot of those are very high in the short run these days. If you're looking at U.S. Treasury bills, probably the highest is in the 6-month range, which is about the 530, 535 in the 6 month. As you get past 6 months, it starts to tick down as rates are anticipated to sometime, probably next year, start going down. The Fed meets here on September 20th. I think most believe they will continue to pause. There's a lot of economic numbers that have come out recently that show inflation is coming down, unemployment's going up, the average hourly earning is coming down. So all of these rate hikes that the Fed has put in place the last year and a half are taking effect. So the question then becomes, what's the next thing that they'll do? And that's probably obviously a rate cut. Most believe that'll be in the first half of next year, maybe even sooner if sort of the economic numbers start to show the soft landing that everyone's talking about not happen. If it becomes more of a hard landing where it's having a real effect on the economy, then I think you'll see the Fed start to cut rates. Once they cut rates, I think you'll see them cut down to 3%, maybe even lower, be their target. So that being said, that's why you see rates start to tail off past the 6-month mark. Some of the options we talked about really, and I think Chuck was most interested in, was a government money market account. That right now is about a 5 1/4. Those rates have daily liquidity, meaning you can pull your funds out any day. They're the old dollar in, dollar out, meaning you put $1 million in, you can get $1 million out any day. There's no penalty. There's no cost to any of it. You probably will see that rate hang around a 5.25 until the Fed does cut rates. So my guess is you'll see that for another 6 months, I would say. And then we'll see. If the Fed cuts rates, then you'll start to see rates go down. We have seen a lot of our clients sort of start to lock in a little bit longer, knowing that the Fed is probably done, and then the next move will be a cut. Again, they're probably just hedging their bets. They've been going out around a year, locking in a year. If it's Treasury bills, we offer brokered CDs, which are CDs from smaller banks where, gosh, those are around, for a year, you can get around a 5.40 for something like that. So we've seen people lock in there. The government, government agency bonds are right around the same as Treasury bonds, so we've just told our clients to stick with Treasury bonds. Treasury bonds are the safest investments out there. They're the benchmark. Everything kind of prices off that. So those are really the options that we talked most about. I think Chuck was most interested in the government money market fund, I believe. It's an option we could start with. At some point, if we were to do something like that, I think going down the road, if it became evident that the Fed was going to start cutting rates, then I think if you could, it probably makes sense to lock a little of the funds up. So I don't know if you have any questions about the investment side of it or the things we offer, but.
No, I think, what you put before us was probably what we were wanting to hear. Right now, we have money in an account that is,
Star Ohio.
yeah,
So
but we probably need to look at what we're going to need short term for a year and maybe lock up some in a CD, or that'd probably be what we'd be looking at, is, wouldn't you think, Matt?
I mean, I guess it depends on what the rates of those individual CDs are. I mean, the nice thing about the money market account, like you mentioned, is that it's fully liquid, right? I mean, it's about the same, these higher rates, but you can put in and you can pull as needed at will. My question would be in that money market account, functionally, so our main bank account is with Fifth Third, obviously. I mean, you know that, and just looking for. So, I can pull a bank statement, from our main account, and basically it has all of the money, that we have in Fifth Third. Would it entail essentially a separate account number and a separate statement if it was in the money market system, and then we would have to do, the transfer process each time money came in and out, stuff like that?
Correct. So you would have to open up a separate account, a securities account.
Okay.
The nice part is with Fifth Third, we have a lot of the information because you bank with us, so we can kind of pre-fill a lot of it. But there's a few things that you'll need to fill out, but it's pretty simple and straightforward. We open the account, it's separate. You get a separate statement every month. And then we would hook it up, if you will, with your checking account. So anytime we pulled money to invest in the money market fund, we'd pull it out of that checking account. Anytime we did a redemption in the money market, it would go back to that checking account. Again, it's same day. So you would just need to email or call me or my assistant, and we could have that done same day for you.
Can I make a comment here? We have no investment policy. So as far as I know, I've never seen one in 2 years I've been here. So we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here because we don't have a policy on how we're going to invest our money.
Agree.
And if I can say something, you're not the only one. There's a lot of public entities in the same boat, and what they all fall on is the Ohio Revised Code on investments that states exactly what you can invest in and how long you can invest. So if anyone, if they do create an investment policy, it is just a mirror image usually of the Ohio Revised Code. So if you're looking, I can send you some example policies. That's easy enough, and I can send you the Ohio Revised Code, which kind of details what's eligible for investment.
Yeah, we would appreciate that. And that would be helpful.
Sure.
Because it's good to have. We don't have a lot of experience in that arena, and it would be nice to know, at least from your perspective of like kind of like you started off with, what we can do and what we can't do.
Sure.
Because while we may not have that established, it's kind of the process of bringing him here to the public meeting to start to begin to talk about those things, because the trustees ultimately are essentially fiduciaries of the tax funds that
Sure.
we're in charge over.
A couple of things I was looking into. The checking account, we own the interest, and we probably getting less than 0.5% per year interest on that. So that is a rough estimate, but
Yeah.
I think you can tell, just kind of back me up that about what we're getting paid.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, unfortunately, at Fifth Third, well, mainly for compliance reasons, we have no access to the bank side, and they have no access to the security side. So I couldn't pull up and tell you what they are, but that's not surprising. I think it's just.
Yeah. And the other thing is I'm trying to get information, and JB gave me a name, and I've been trying to reach her last week, 2 weeks. Her name is Sherry. And the information I wanted from her is what is the required balance that we need to keep at Fifth Third to cover our services, like the withdrawals, checks, transfer, and deposit. If you got a personal account, I have a Fifth Third, I need to keep $20,000 there because I want to get a service fee. And I get like 5 to 10 cents interest a month. So basically, let's say our balance is, right now it's running between $3 and $4 million in a checking account. Let's say our balance is $3.2 million, and say we require to keep $1 million. So we can say, well, let's keep $1.2 million. And if our balance is $3.2 million, we could probably transfer that money, $2 million, either to Star or higher, or into Fifth Third accounts.
Right.
And we could earn more than 5%. It was 10 times more than what we're earning now. So I'm still trying to get Sherry to call me, and I called 3-4 times and no answer. So to keep leaving it messages.
For me, the more operative question would be, I don't anticipate some mandatory minimum to be more pressing or more or larger than the mandatory minimum that we would need in the account
Right.
to cover our obligations, our liabilities, especially given the fact that we get, for the most part, our revenues in 2 big lumps from the county every year. So I think as we go along, if we do something like this, we would want to start, with a somewhat modest approach to see how it goes, because we're kind of at the mercy of the auditor and when we get our funds and that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is the day-by-day account, so you can put money in and out.
It's a day-by-day account, but you don't.
Well,
You
we
don't want to
wouldn't do
operate it
that.
that way. I don't.
No, we wouldn't. I think maybe look out once a month or something, or whatever. But we need to get a feel of it, like you say. But years ago, when I was Home Federal, we had a commercial account, and at that time, I did day by day keeping track of it. But that was a lot bigger, a lot more money. We had that float. Here, we know about every month how much the bill's gonna be, like a couple $100,000, whatever. So we got niggas to transfer money every day, every week, or every month. But we could easily transfer, who knows, $1 million or $2 million.
Why don't our fiscal officer and his staff put together some figures for our next meeting on what they would consider what we'd have to have in our account on a 3 to 6 month time frame that we would have to have in our checking account to pay the bills, and then what we could move the rest of the money into a money market account so that we're operating at least a half a year or quarterly without dragging money every month out.
Right.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. That's I'll talk with Brian about that. I'll make sure. Can you make sure before you leave?
Sure.
And you don't have to stay for the whole meeting, but before you leave, could you drop a card specifically to Brian there and send that revised code stuff and other examples or whatever you were proposing to send it to both of us. I would appreciate that, and that'll help me bring a proposal to these guys at the next meeting. And when we'll bring a proposal, and then 6 months, a year from now, it'll all change because of the
Sure,
the
but
reassessments
least we get
that you
started.
guys mentioned before. Yeah, it'll be good to get started.
Yeah.
I don't want, and just for the record, when I mention it is the money market specifically is a day-to-day account, but I would not necessarily want to treat it that liquid, is because every single time money goes from the checking account to an investment account, there are very important transfer entries that go into the accounting system about that, where it's coming from, and then when that money comes back in, or when interest is realized or made on that, then there has to be a calculation about which
Funds.
individual buckets out of the budget essentially that
Sure.
that goes back into. So
That's why I say you either do it quarterly or semi-annually.
and we'll look at this when we propose it, when we make a proposal, but it may, depending on what kind of CD options there are,
Sure.
it may be more functional to do it that way too. But
Okay.
thank you for coming, and thank you for sending that stuff to us. I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. I'll leave my card with Brian. If you've got any questions, certainly reach out to me.
Does a CD pay more than the money market?
They do, slightly more right now. Where they really pick up and sort of versus like treasuries and other options, CDs really are outperforming as you go out the curve. So like a 3-year CD, a non-callable CD, meaning you'll take it all the way to 3 years, is about a 5%. When you're looking at like 3-year treasury bonds, those are about 4.70. So not bad, but a pickup certainly.
You said the money market was 5, right?
5.25.
So why would that be more than a CD?
Because that's just where rates are today. So the Fed has raised rates so much that they're right around a 5.25. But
It can come
again,
down.
the next move is an anticipated cut. So at some point they're going to start cutting rates, and I think once they do, and the market believes they'll continue to cut rates until they get down to around 3%. So that's why I say I think it makes sense. Rates are as high as they've been in 15 years. Right. So we've been recommending to our clients, hey, if you can invest out a little bit, let's lock up, keep this 5% money for as long as you can. And then, of course, we can keep some liquid, that the portion that you'll need to run the operations for the next, call it 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
But
Now on that CD you just mentioned, like, so like on a 3-year CD, when you say 5%, is that for the totality of the CD, or is that like an annual percentage?
so it's annual. So you get 5% every year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's all I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
When you were talking about how good it was, I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely,
I think most people are more familiar with like 3, 6 month, 1 year CDs,
yes.
where you're locking in a rate, like this is what you're going to get back at the end of the term of the CD.
Correct. Yeah. So once you go out beyond a year, it's annual, 5% every year.
Understood. Thank you.
So when interest rates were lower, like what was a money market paying then? Was
My
it
gosh, man.
like nothing?
They were all
Yeah,
over the place.
post-COVID, when the Fed cut rates to essentially zero, I mean, money markets were
Cheap.
10 or 15 basis points, so 0.1 or 0.15. I mean, they were,
And we saw that in our own accounts. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we would get more interest in our checking account than we did in our like Star Ohio investment account.
Yep.
Well, Stowe, Ohio last month paid 5.48%.
Right now.
And the month before it was over 5%. So I'm not sure how many months it was over 4 or 5%. So
But it was pennies.
without a day in and day out, I mean, you can get it within a day or two. And Fifth Third would not charge you for transferring money to Star Ohio, right?
to transfer it to Star,
Right.
I don't think that they do. That's more of a bank side question, but I don't think that they would charge you to transfer money to Star.
But that
It's a
might be-
different bank, so I can't, to be honest with you, there may be a wire fee to wire it to Star Ohio.
I-
But that's once we get a hold of Sherry or Todd, that's a Sherry or Todd question.
Yeah, if you wire it there and leave it sit 6 months, that the wire fee would not be that much.
And we haven't done that. So I can't weigh in on that either.
Okay.
All right,
Anything
thanks. Anything, anybody else? Thank you. No, yeah, you can go on up then.
All done?
Yep, you're good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, JB.
Sure.
Have a good trip home. You live in Mount Washington or somewhere. Washington.
Hi, I'm Melba Gard. I'm the president of the Crosby Township Historical Society, and I have come just to get permission from the trustees. We would like to put a small shed on your property near the log cabin. It would be like 2 foot by 6 foot. We need some storage for gardening tools and a few other things, and so we would like to be able to get permission to do that.
You said
That'd be zoning.
2 foot by 6 foot?
What?
You said 2 foot by 6 foot? So just a little like,
It's,
like a
it's
locker basically?
it's for gardening tools and a grill, basically. Nothing more than that.
This is the cabin over by the
Yeah, the log cabin, yes.
firehouse?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be zoning.
That was, I can't
You-
hear you, guys.
You'd have to go to zoning. Take your building and go to zoning and get a permit from Rick.
Well, I just want to make sure that the trustees, that was permitted from
I don't
you
have a
guys to
problem with
do. I mean, I was, as long as you get, you give me permission, then I can go to the zoning.
He's saying that you don't need a permit.
Alan,
Don't need a permit. Okay,
Rick Espel is saying you don't need a permit.
thank you.
officially
I
make a-
appreciate that.
make a-
Okay.
Anything that's 200 square foot or less, you do not need a permit from the township or from the
Okay.
county.
Okay. I just want to be certain on that.
Is
so.
there anything in the lease that would prohibit it?
I don't know.
I can't think of anything.
I didn't know you were coming tonight, and I didn't know what this topic was going to be.
I understand. This was all we basically needed to talk to you about. If you have anything else that you wanted to say about
No.
anything.
I do. We were going to take and try to get this building, the old town hall painted this month yet. So they're going to try to get it power washed this week yet. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, as of Wednesday, we should have it finished.
Okay, once when they get it power washed, then we're going to take and get it painted. So what we're going to do is either paint it the same yellow or close to the same yellow that it was, or paint it white. What's your preference on that, since we have the Historical Society here?
I don't know what originally was. I would imagine it was
It's
whitewashed.
it's a pale
originally.
yellow.
Yeah, yes, I remember the pale yellow, but originally I would imagine it was probably white. It doesn't really matter. I've got my board here.
White?
Ask them.
Would you want it white again and trimmed in green? Okay, be a satin white. So,
That's fine.
okay. No, you can't get
You
much
can't
oil-based
oil,
paint
yeah.
anymore. It's all
Tex.
water-soluble paint. But they got to paint with the primer in it now, and I painted my last building up there, and it went on like silk. So, and it stuck to my concrete block, as well as to the asbestos shingles. So it just went on beautiful. So that's probably what we'll use on that, and then we'll trim it in green. And we're going to put a new steel door on the front, because that
Oh,
one's
That's
rotted,
nice. Thank you.
because that one's just about rusted through.
Yeah,
So
great.
then we'll have that done. We'll paint the outhouse. We're not going to do anything with the fence. I don't know if that's your call, but we only got enough time to get the building painted.
Okay,
So that's what's on our docket.
great. We appreciate it.
Do we vote on them, that shed or not?
It's not that big of a deal to me.
I think what would be more notable is
You're gonna remove it once, or it's removable, it's not attached to the.
It's just,
Freestanding?
yeah, freestanding.
if there's no
That's all.
permit needed, and I think it would be more notable if there was any objection from the trustees for them doing
I don't have any objection to
Do you
it,
agree with that,
That's-
Alan?
as long as
We
it's
just wanna
well
be sure.
maintained.
And since Rick said he doesn't need
Need
to act
permission.
on this, I think it's fine.
Okay, I just want to be sure that everyone was on board with it, so we could go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
He needs to go to the.
Yeah, you want to go up there?
Use the mic, Tony.
Say your name.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about a letter that we sent the trustees a while back
What's your name, sir?
regarding the.
State your name.
You gotta say your name for the
I get
record.
yes. I take for granted that everybody knows me. So, okay,
I
my
don't
my
know-
name is
I have
Tony
to keep the
Torres.
record, sir, and I personally, I'm sorry, I don't know you.
Okay, that'd be fine. My name is Tony Torres. I'm
Okay.
Vice President of the Historical Society. I'm a former resident of the township. I live in the township for 25 years. A while back, we sent a letter to the trustees regarding the old township hall repairs.
Right.
Did you had a chance to review that letter?
We did.
And
And according to the lease that we have, we are responsible for the outside wall, the foundation, and everything on the outside. The joist underneath the floor, in our opinion, is out of our jurisdiction. That's more it's the inside of the building. So we're maintaining everything that this lease had on the outside. We got a new roof on it. We've did a good job on trying to restructure the foundation around the outside, and we're getting a coat of paint on it. The shutters are going to be painted. They're already in the shop over there. So as far as we're concerned, in my opinion, is that we are following the lease.
Well, we're very thankful for all the work you've done so far in the old town hall and try to preserve the old town hall. And that's what we're doing. Just like the log cabin in the Shaker Village, this old town hall is a treasure to be preserved for the township and for the residents. And that's why we're involved with this endeavor to preserve the township. And but going back to the floor, have you taken any bids on that? What it would take to repair that floor?
What now? I know what the floor looks.
Any?
Yes, if we had any bids on.
No, I offered to give the Historical Society $1,000 to rebate you on the joist that you'd have to put in underneath there, but nobody took me up on it, so.
Yeah, because the way it is right now is unusable for us to be able to go in there and start the work of refurbishing the inside of the building. That's what we want. And that's the only thing that's really holding us up, to be able to go inside the building and start the repairs inside the building to be able to use it.
But that's, according to our lease, we're not responsible for that. And when I talked to one of the former trustees, he acted like what we were doing down there was beyond what he thought we should have been doing. And I told him he signed the lease, and we were just following up on the way the lease spells it out for us. So the floor is going to have to be your issue. It's not in the lease. We've stuck quite a bit of money in preserving the outside of the building, and I'm sorry, but unless somebody else on the board here wants to stick money into the floor, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to be make sure the understanding, the floor and the floor joists are two different things. The floor joist is a structural thing, which would be an outside consideration or an outside part of the building. That's the structure of the building.
It's on the inside of the wall.
The inside of the floor on the inside, we knew that would be something we'd have to repair because we had to take up some of the floor to be able to see what was happening underneath it. But that's a structural thing, the floor joist, and that is an outside. It's underneath the building. Yes, it's still outside of the inside part of the,
Yeah, depends on how you look at it, I guess. But, we went over it with our legal counsel, and what we're doing is pretty much living up to our end of the bargain on maintaining the building, and that's on the inside of the wall. It doesn't say in the lease that we're in charge of all the structural foundation that goes all the way through underneath the building. It's pretty much spells it out that we're responsible for the outside maintenance of the building. And so that's what we've done. And, unless the trustees here want to take and do something different, that's up to them. But I was just doing what we agreed to on the lease. And once we get it painted and we get a new door on it, we're pretty much finished with it. So
I'm in the middle, so I'm a treasurer for the Historical Society. One thought in my mind, I don't know, it's a wild idea, is Alan, our attorney, maybe he could go and look at it and see what he thinks. I don't know. Third party. Get an idea.
I'll take another look at it.
I don't know.
I'll take another look at it, but,
On the inside.
I kind of agree. I think Dennis and I talked about this, so.
Okay. Could you look inside of it personally?
Pardon me?
Could you personally look inside of the?
You mean physically go there and look at?
Yes.
No.
Okay. I was thinking maybe.
No one asked me to.
So, see, like I said, I'm in the middle. I get a wild idea, maybe have a third party look at it. I don't know. So.
while he's going up there, one thought that I had was, I mean, if the issue is talking about a floor joist, what if this was a 2-story building, and we had an issue with a floor joist on the second floor? It's still a floor joist, but I don't think there would be any discussion about it being, part of the responsibilities of the outside of the building, right? I mean, a floor joist, whether it's first floor or second floor, it just happens to be a 1-story building, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, but problem is that it got termites and wet and it rotted because there's no gutters on that building for years. So that,
Yeah, nobody done anything to it. It
I
just
know. I
was
mean, I'm
left
just saying
up
that what
there.
happened. It wouldn't happen on the second floor because there's, so.
Anyway,
My name is Dwayne Singleton. I'm a trustee with the Historical Society. I just want to say I respectfully disagree with the decision that the floor joists are not part of the structural integrity of the building. I've been involved
No,
in
I
architect
didn't
and
say it
engineering
wasn't part
firm
of the
for
structural.
26 years, and that's the first I've ever heard where that would not be a structural member of the building.
it is structural, but the agreement that was signed
I've read
was
the agreement.
pretty much strictly the outside.
I've read the agreement many times over, so
Well,
I respectfully
We'll have
request that
Alan
you
look at it
review
again and
closer and
see what he's got to say
continue
about
the
it, but
discussion.
I'll look at it one more time.
All right, thank you. Alan, legal,
No report.
maintenance, Mike.
Yeah, so, I just wanted to let you guys know that we did get the truck. We're waiting on the plow and the spreader, and, they said it'll be here before November, so hopefully it doesn't snow in October. And then, I put, the manila folders in front of you guys. It's got the, some of the things that I was going over. Let's see, September 20th, Hamilton County's having a, they call it a snowplow rodeo. It's basically a training course for snowplow drivers. That'll be the day that we could go, and I've got 2 guys that would like to go. It is on a Wednesday, and since it is a safety training, I was wondering if it's possible that we can get them paid for the day.
if it's in line with them doing township, I don't have a problem with it. They should get paid.
Okay, good.
It's going, they're part of their safety training.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure before, they went out, so, okay, awesome.
I would put it on. I would also put it on their. So they'll have to put it on their timesheets. Obviously,
Yeah,
They would
yeah.
put that under, like roads, streets.
Roads and
It's
streets. okay.
Training for that.
Are you gonna use a new truck, Mike?
I'm sorry, what?
You using the new truck? or the old
They
truck?
actually supply the trucks, they said. So they've got CDL drivers that will come out and train also. So they got big trucks all the way down to little Ford Rangers with plows on them. So it's basically they'll set up cones like a road course, and they judge the person by what they do. And they also have the driver will do a walk around, a safety check of his truck, and they grade you upon that too. So it's to me it's it's important to see how other townships and the county does it, the big guys.
Sure.
Because we can probably bring that back to us and apply it. So so the next thing is I got the guys set up on the computer where I got a to-do list. You can see some of the things that I've written down, and then I just scratch them off on the computer when finished. If there's anything that you guys ever see that needs to be done, feel free to text me, email me, call me or something, and I'll put it on that list. And, we'll get it taken care of. So, And last but not least is all of the quotes from the 3 places for the asphalt. Now, I don't know anything much about blacktop, so some of the stuff's kind of confusing to me is the way they quoted it. I think Harry gave you a couple of these before, maybe one of them. Like Bear, I think the grand total on it, it's on the back page, $34,000. And that's basically they want to do some patchwork from what I understand and reading it, and then seal it with the tar and then go over it with a coating. And that should be for here, the trail, the walking path, and over at the firehouse. And the next one is Howe Asphalt. They're pretty much got the same quote except for the price is just, let's see, it's about $1,500 less for the same exact work. But they have a separate one for the fire department. And that would be $5,000, almost $6,000 for the fire department. If I'm reading these right.
Is my question for the minutes is, are you guys planning on taking action on this today, or if you're just paging through these lengthy proposals, are you going to consider them?
Well, time is of the essence to a certain point. Since this is September and our next meeting is October, to me, if we don't get this something on the books, it might not get done this year.
I understand that. I was just looking at the thickness of the
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Right.
proposals, because it looks like you've got not just multiple quotes, but you have
Multiple options.
multiple proposals in each set of quotes, because
What
there's
I-
never been a unified opinion on, are we patching, are we sealing, are we grinding and milling and repaving?
So, you know, as far as the fire department goes, I haven't been there recently, but that could probably just be sealed. I don't think it really needs to be milled, does it?
There's one spot right next to the firehouse as you pull into the, I guess it'd be like the driveway. It's pretty bad. If you were to tar that, I mean, you might as well just tar the whole thing.
Well, my
'Cause it's
thinking
so
here
cracked.
is if we're gonna start redoing the firehouse and we're gonna have construction going on down there, we may just wanna delay that project until we get the construction done, if we're gonna do construction.
Oh, yeah.
You know, no use sticking money into it, and then you got
Big trucks tearing it
big
up.
trucks coming in there and tearing it up, and we don't know how much of the blacktop they're gonna come out and take
Right.
in order to have some green space in between the building and the blacktop when it's finished. So let's just take and put the firehouse on hold right now
Okay.
and try to figure out what we want to do with this out here.
Yeah, so Cincinnati Asphalt sent us different options to do out here. I've got them written down. I think I wrote them down right. Like I said, it's very confusing to me because it's all blur.
I'll tell you what, why don't we go through the rest of the meeting, table this for after the meeting,
Okay.
and then we'll take 10 or 15 minutes to digest what is here before us, and then do something.
And okay, we can do that.
That sound like something, because the sheriff should be here in a little bit, so we can get rid of all the other business, and then we'll go back and That way zoning doesn't have to be here and stuff, so why don't we do that? That sound like a plan?
So I got one other thing also. I didn't print it out for myself, but I think it's in your guys' folders. It's a list of all the roads that we maintain. Harry and I went around and rated them from basically 0 being perfect, it doesn't need anything, all the way to a 10, which I don't have any. That'd be like broken up gravel road. But there are 9s, 8s, 7s, all the way down to 0. It's food for thought. You know, if we're spending all this money on a parking lot, we should probably put something into the road that's a number 9, in my opinion.
Yeah. I did ride around on some of these just to get familiar with them a while back. And so I agree. But this out here is falling apart, so.
Some of the roads that we have, they look like they're just chunks of rocks.
All right.
And they look a whole lot worse than out here.
Okay. Well, we only got so much budget,
Yep.
so we got to pick our battles.
That's all I have.
Mike, I had a couple of things.
'Kay.
One, thanks for the report. That's good to see with your to-do list and everything. Someone mentioned about I'm sure it was an oversight, but to leave the flags up till after 9/11
Okay.
in the future. And then some of those trees that died out here, and I'll have to look at the varieties and that. I guess we should probably replace the ones that died in front of the maintenance building.
Yeah, there's
It's 4 or 5 of them.
yeah, I think we counted 5 today. We were looking at them today.
I can
actually.
look at which ones they were because they were like alternated.
Yeah.
I think they're more than 4 and 5. I think they're
I think it was-
7 or 8. There's more died.
And then do we have we'll have to find out where we got this from. I know Harry knew who it was. It was because they brought them and planted them and everything.
So
It was
when would be a better time?
well,
you know,
fall would be good,
yeah,
like in a
that's
month
what I
or
was thinking.
so.
Fall or spring would be perfect.
Fall would be the best because then they would set in over the winter. So I'll
Right.
try to make a list,
Okay.
and that's all I have for you. Anybody else for Mike?
No,
You do or don't?
no.
Okay.
I get the flags, and you always said something about that. So
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Fire
Oh.
chief.
Since we're on Mike, he's, right now, he still doesn't have full-time status. He's on his
Probation.
probation
90-day
period.
probation, yes.
And so I had a meeting with Harry and what staff was there last Thursday, and everybody agreed that he's ready to be promoted to full-time, and Harry's ready to hit the road. So if nobody has any further comments, I'd like to make a motion that we move Mike out of probationary and make him a full-time, or not a full-time, but he's
His normal job.
normal employee and not probationary anymore,
starting September, October.
starting right now.
Well, would that mess up payroll for the month for September?
You get paid monthly, so it would be.
Yeah, he gets paid monthly, so.
I couldn't remember on the.
I think we had 3 months originally.
90 days, so that would have
Yeah,
been.
wasn't it?
It put me October.
through the end of
October 1st would be after my 90 days. So, and I'm comfortable with waiting if it messes up payroll.
Yeah,
Well, what you could do is, he gets paid for the month of September monthly at the second pay period. So what you could do is you could make it effective September 1st.
okay.
And because I can't remember if there was a pay difference, what the pay
There
difference
is.
was.
Yes.
But what would happen is, since you're satisfied, make it effective September 1st, takes care of it.
Okay. I move that we advance him to normal status effective September 1st.
No.
Nope, you're good.
You want to second that?
I second it.
Right. Roll call,
Loman,
yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
All right.
I
Appreciate it.
got pressure on you now.
Now, Harry's off the payroll?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
When is Harry off the payroll as of?
Tonight.
So do I pay him half a month?
He's a monthly
August
employee.
31st.
Well,
August 31st, wasn't
Can
it?
you give him a
He
half a
was-
month?
He said he was gonna be done September 1st, is what he told me. Is he
Oh,
still
really?
working? Or?
I don't
No,
think.
he's been, his last day was the last day of August. He
Yeah.
came
Alright.
in,
He's told-
he
he
came
told
in
me
on
August
Monday to bring
31st.
us, cupcakes and talk to you, and that was it. So,
Okay.
I didn't get any cupcakes.
I got some over there.
So Brian,
Stop by.
that's that.
Okay.
He told me August 31st. Harry
At
did.
the last meeting, he said that,
Yeah.
I think.
He said he out. Now, you may come in and help Mike with the meeting or whatever, but
Yeah.
Harry,
That matches up real well then.
Okay.
All right, we'll go back to the
Harry,
sheriff.
Harry probably missed this
So
place.
usually it's about an hour report that you have to give, so I hope you're ready.
I have 45 pages, but I'm going to make it short. If you need to know, I'm Corporal Brian Peak, the Sheriff's Office, filling in for Lieutenant Stuckey. I believe I dropped off some stuff to Brian this week, correct? You should have all the reports and everything. Number one says dispatch report, there were 109 calls for service in the last month. Number two, criminal reports, there were 4 total criminal reports taken, 3 non-criminal reports, 3 total non-criminal reports taken. The detectives had 1 case assigned and 0 cases were closed. Traffic had 5 auto accidents, 0 DUI or OVI arrests.
The only thing on, I don't know if it was last Friday, it's the second time I've seen this guy take a quad runner, come down New Haven Road, go around everybody along the side of the road and go down 128. And no license on it. It's a fairly good size quad, but there's no license on it, and I've seen him do it twice now.
You know what times?
It's 4:30 in the afternoon. You wouldn't think it's during traffic. But
Weekdays or weekends?
it was weekday. Yeah,
So
it's
he's
not a
coming
Saturday
down
or
all the way
Sunday.
down New Haven to where?
Huh?
Down
He's-
New Haven.
Yeah, I
where?
don't know if he comes out of Patty's Run or where he comes from, but twice I've seen him now go down from the railroad tracks down to 128 and then go straight down 128.
He's taking his life in his own hands if he's going down 128 on a quad, but yeah. All right, I'll pass it along. It's in the afternoon, you say, Dennis?
Yeah, it's the afternoon,
Okay.
both times. When people were out at 4:30 in the
hiding or
afternoon,
trying to-
4:30,
yeah.
5 o'clock. I mean, he's right there with traffic and he just zips right along. He's
Now-
about mid-30s, I would say, maybe early 40s.
Okay.
The problem is, you see them in 5-10 minutes, they're gone. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you
Well-
happen to be there.
If I had to guess, I would say he's going up Old Patty's Run.
Maybe.
So,
Maybe that way, or maybe he's coming from Old Patty's Run and coming out this way, then turn around and going back. You didn't see him up here as far as the store or anything, right?
no,
Okay.
no. So that's the only weird thing I've seen.
I know.
He was trying to avoid driving without a license.
Well, I know on Oxford Road, I see people on golf carts and motorcycle without license or anything. So, but unless you're there, you don't gonna get them.
Exactly right.
If you
Unless you
call
see it
them,
visibly, you're exactly right.
Yeah,
Chuck,
they're
you're
gone.
exactly right.
Trying to get there, so. But the one I don't see anymore, there used to be a golf cart with kids in it, riding around.
Someone said New Haven, and there was someone in a quad this summer. They think they lived like on Church Street or something, but they were going up and down,
Yeah.
Wiley Road, not Wiley Road, but Oxford Road.
And for what it's worth, it's kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. As you all probably know, but I'm the one that schedules your detail, face-to-face, if you didn't know that, your Crosby Township traffic detail. And last month, as I put in my email, the same day in Fort Scott, I ran into 2 folks on golf carts and 1 young man on a dirt bike. I know our sergeant has been involved or in touch with some of yous, but I did speak to both family members. One happened to be a policeman, the other one was an elderly gentleman with his wife and their daughter, everybody going to the pool.
Yeah.
You know, we have a template, if you will, that we pass out, similar to what the city of Harrison does. Ultimately, it's up to you all to make that decision whether you're going to allow it in your township. But at this point, they now know, at least those three know, that it's not allowed. You know, it has to be inspected, it has to have lights, it has to have a windshield, it has to have turn signals, brake lights, etc. The one I stopped with the elderly people on, brand new, about $15,000, and they had everything down to a license plate light. So
Really?
they were a little miffed. I said, well, I'm not, you know, hooking it, I'm not towing it, I'm not writing you a citation, but be advised, this is not allowed on the streets in Crosby Township. So.
Surprised they're not here tonight.
Well, Doug, I was thinking the same thing, just what's the chances that I'm going to be presenting this tonight and they'd be here? I mean, you know, diplomatic with them, and, you know, we have, the traffic unit has, you know, paperwork that we pass out to them, and, you know, what the requirements are by state law, and then, you know, ultimately it's up to the township to pass that if you wish to have those on your streets in this township.
Yeah, I don't see a need to change anything right at this point in time. There's too much traffic up there. You're just begging for somebody to get killed when you permit
could become an
something like
issue.
that.
It's something to keep in mind, like how you would deal with that situation. I can tell you that living right across the street from the neighborhood, one time when I had a horse break out, and he went to the plush green grass of Fort Scott, and it was told that there were posses of kids in the family golf carts running the neighborhood trying to go find the horse. There's a lot of them in the neighborhood. There's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them. And just doing normal patrol during your detail, you can see them in the garages. And I can tell you the same circumstances happened here in Parksville Whitewater for the city of Harrison.
They don't live on a golf course.
Right. Right. I mean, we've had people even in Green Township come to us, the sheriff's office, because the actual paperwork you get from the state says sheriff's deputy. But if we don't patrol in those areas, we obviously don't sign the paperwork for that. But people get quite upset because it says, well, it says you can do it, it says you can do it. Well, that's not our policy. We don't do it because, you know, if we're not patrolling in the area where the request is or where they want to register them, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, just to be mindful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have to stay if you want to split.
Yeah, it's up to you.
It's not going to be too good.
You could make it good.
Thanks
Thank
for coming.
you. All right, Fire Chief Davis.
August run totals, we had 39 EMS details, 25 fire details, for a total of 64 during August. I want to thank Mike and his crews for helping the fire department remove items from Station 27. We were able to haul 2 truckloads of stuff that belonged to us after Dennis and I talked to Mr. Miller on what he wanted out of that building. It's now been accomplished. There's nothing left down there that belongs to us.
Other than the fire engine.
That's coming up next.
So we need to have a motion to get rid of the fire engine.
You were not here last
I wasn't here at the last meeting.
Right. And in this proposal, or in my packet I gave you, I do have a company that is interested in the fire engine that did not sell on the auction site.
Right.
That is Gravel-Rama. And they made it. They emailed me a letter for you guys to look at. It explains that the need for an engine down on Gravel-Rama, because they have races and trained personnel to operate it. They have an engine now that's older. This is in better shape than what they have now. They would come down, pick it up, and remove it from the station if we allow them to purchase the engine.
So what's the purchase price?
It's right, it's in this thing. They're offering 2 to 500.
Anywhere between $200 to $500. They're a nonprofit. They don't have a lot of
Right.
funds. But they have shown interest in that throughout the auction time frame and after it. So my recommendation would be to pick a number, allow them to give us those funds. They'll come down, switch out the batteries, and haul it to their gravel-rama site.
Well, I would split the difference and say $300, they get it out by the end of the month and it's theirs. That sound,
Yeah.
that way, by the end of the month, we're out of there.
Yeah, if it wasn't Crosby Township, but it's basically that it's a club that have a lot of fun, right? I mean, the competition.
I believe it's a racetrack and a hill course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the.
And that truck hasn't been started for 5 years, probably.
What was the starting price on the auction for it?
I don't recall that,
I mean, was it this, around this amount, or was it more than that?
more than that.
I thought like $1,000.
What's it worth in scrap?
I don't know that answer either.
It probably worth
Well,
more. Probably worth
scrap.
more scrap.
Yeah, the scrap, you know, it's probably got $500 worth of tires on it if they're not dry rotted. So looking at that, and that's got chrome rims on it or aluminum rims.
Those
I
might
can't
be-
remember.
Those might be painted,
They might be.
yeah, it's an 87.
But, you know, scrap right now is going about $200 a ton. That fire engine probably weighs 5 ton at least. So you're looking at $1,000 scrap. But then we would have to hire a wrecker to tow it down there, and a wrecker is going to cost you $300 or more. So I would say if they can come and get it, I have no problem. $300 and it's theirs, and they get it out of there by the end of the month.
Well,
I think
and
they would be
also,
able to.
is any issues with any kind of materials that may still be on there that
It's stripped.
We took the name off of the side, we took the radios out, we took the computers out,
didn't you say there's batteries on it?
batteries.
You
The
said you
batteries
was
are
gonna
junk.
Switch out batteries, or
They're
They've been
dead.
charging it,
Yeah.
right?
the old ones are on there. I'm just thinking there may be some components maybe that I'm saying it may not be just quite as simple as getting the pure amount for the scrap. There,
Oh,
you
no,
know, if
that's
there's
fine.
environmental considerations
No,
or
I-
anything like that. So
No.
I'm-
You know,
it-
we would be, I would
there's
say.
advantages to just selling it, is what I'm saying.
So Alan, are we allowed to just outright sell it like that?
Hey, it's got no value under the statutes. You can do as you want with it.
Yeah.
Can you get it started?
It will take new batteries to start it,
But you can't get it started.
yes.
And they can
Started
drive
before-
it.
I'm sorry?
That's gonna
They
be
can't
their,
be-
that'll be their problem.
Yeah, that'd be their problem.
They have
Well,
to-
I'm thinking can you get it started? It's been sitting there. I guess you guys been starting it every month or something, or
I think with the new batteries, it'll start with no problem.
I don't know. I think 500 still be a heck of a deal. So ain't that much.
What do you say, Prez?
Let's do 400. You said split it, so let's do 350. That's split.
400, okay. with
Fine.
me.
I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as it's out of there.
I think they're not gonna use it on the
Let's say
road. They're gonna
350.
use it there, and I mean they can make it
All right,
roadworthy.
350.
350. Do I hear four? Four.
We
four.
got it.
There's nobody here to
Who's
bid.
who's gonna make that motion?
I'll move that we get rid of the old fire truck for $350, and it has to be out of the firehouse by the end of the month.
To gravel Rama.
You say 350.
Yeah.
I second it. So
The title is back there in the safe.
Roll
So-
call.
I'll get with
Hold on a second.
Matt or Brian.
Because I had the titles back there.
Okay.
Writing the contingency down.
they probably get a lot of use out of it, so.
They'll use it when they're demolition derbies.
Even if the towers are bad, if they're off the road, it's not a safety hazard, you know, not driving at 50, 60 miles per hour, so.
All right. Loman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
All right. Also at the last meeting, I mentioned that David Welsh with Welsh Development Company donated $10,000 to the fire department. I'd like to once again thank him for the generous donation. In this report, I have attached items which we would like to purchase with that donation. The donation came here. Mr. Carter placed those funds into the bank, and of those three things I have listed, I tried to, well, one's on the fire side, fire safety vests. What these are reflective vests that we wear. We currently have, but these vests are LED lights on the front and back, to where at nighttime there was no way you can actually see with these lights on more than just a traditional safety vest. On the EMS side, I'm purchasing EMS vacuum mattress and a backboard. Basically what that is, it's a when we put somebody on a backboard now, there are void spaces we have to fill with blankets and towels. It's a very rough ride from the location we pick them up at to the hospital. This is like a bean bag where we withdraw the air from it and it forms to the body.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no void spaces. It's a little easier ride to the hospital. And then also on both fire and EMS side, we have a rescue truck and a brush pickup truck with hitches that tows our trailer for our UTV. Putting rear view cameras on those two vehicles and replacing the emergency light bar on the white pickup truck. All three of those total is $9,052.83. Because we have vendors with the EMS and the lights and rear view cameras, there's no problem, they can bill us. The only problem with the vests is they want a check before they will start making the vests for us. It's a local company out of Cleves, Ohio, that makes these vests. We had a couple come down, we used them, demoed them, and it'd be nice to have.
Yeah.
Can you say again? There are three things, right?
Three things, yep.
And what were they again?
The fire safety
Are they
vests.
written on are they on your report?
Yeah.
They're on his report.
Yes.
I know. Well, I can't read two things at once though, and I'm looking at the appropriations list while he's saying it.
Fire safety vests, EMS supplies, and then rear view cameras and emergency lights for one vehicle.
Okay.
With that total, there's still a little bit left over. I would like for the remaining $941.17 to be placed into the firehouse fund account so that we can use that to purchase things around the firehouse. Example would be a new grill, pots and pans, silverware, stuff like that. The firehouse fund, I control, we have checks that we can write things for and purchase things for around the firehouse, to where if it's in the fire account, I would have to come to Matt or Brian and ask for permission to purchase pots and pans and silverware, and they would write a check or a PO. This goes into the firehouse fund, and I can write a check for a new grill or new pots and pans or new towels.
I've got a little bit of a comment on that. The way we've got kind of have this set up, in my opinion, if that remainder, let's start with the remainder money. If the remainder money if there was a purchase and it came to us being under, what was our number, $1,000 or $2,000 for non-operating expenses?
I think it was 2,000.
Regardless of what it is, if as a division chief or as a whatever we want to call it, basically as a boss, if you came to us with that purchase, we would pay it. It would be under, like operating expenses or supplies, office supplies, something like that.
Correct.
I don't like the idea of putting it into the house fund, because I don't think it's that simple, because that's actually not the township's money. That's your money. It's a withholding that comes out of your check. We really almost hold it in escrow.
Yep.
And so it's not part of the appropriations and budgeting process, and that's the problem with that.
I see what you're saying.
I don't have any fundamental issue with that being part of what the money's used for, but
Bookkeeping issue.
yeah, the logistics of it or the mechanics of it, I don't think are good. And what
Then what I can do is I can just track, because I know we will need a grill next spring, if not before winter hits. We will need pots and pans. So I'll just keep track and go to one of you guys and say, hey, can I get a check for this from the donation?
Well, Brian had the idea. It's relevant to this. I mean, I was going to make it part of my report, but I mean, now's better. Of asking the trustees for a supplemental appropriation, basically for that, just because then that $10,000 is separate and it's added to the budget. It's money that we didn't expect. It's money that we didn't have. It's
So you're just wanting to open up
extra
another account.
Basically. So that's why I'm looking at this. I'm looking at an account that's fire related, where there's maybe not a lot in there, and we just add $10,000 to that. The money is already in the bank as a revenue receipt, but it needs to be appropriated
Into an account.
into one of these accounts, and then at that point, just like the chief said, if he wants to buy some new cookware, he can just make a note on it to Brian that, hey, this is coming out of that $900, and and quite frankly, as we continuously improve our budgeting and accounting process, that's actually the way ultimately that everything is going to work. Where every time there's any expense, the chief is going to say, this is out of this line item of the budget, and we'll know to write it out of that. So I totally support that.
Okay.
That you guys need to approve all three of those items, as if that's something that you approve of, because it was a gift for the fire department, but it's still township money, and it's over the threshold amount. So you guys need to approve those expenditures.
Okay.
And I would say,
For tonight, I'm asking for approval for the fire vest, the vacuum mattress, and the cameras and light bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will need a check sometime this week for the vests.
The vest.
So we can get those ordered.
Well, and we can do that by just saying, let's see.
On the vest invoice or the vest quote at the very bottom, it's his rule, requires payment before we start on the product. We have not dealt with him before, so there's no rapport there between our department and that company.
Yeah, I mean, if we approve it, then you can get the check whenever you need it.
Correct.
Yep.
So we've got a Brian, these object codes, I don't have them memorized. There's a 2111, 220, 430 called small tools and minor equipment. Do you think that would be an appropriate fund to add?
I think operating supplies would be better than small tools and equipment, because the vests aren't tools. I guess you could deem them equipment, but more of an
Yeah.
operating supply, my thought. Or you just put it in other expenses.
Well, we should go ahead and approve it, and then you can figure out where to put it.
Well, it's gonna
Yeah.
be, well, you're gonna need a resolution, and that's why I'm figuring this out now.
Okay,
Because you're gonna
so,
do a supplemental appropriation. So, yeah, I mean, I was just looking for one maybe that wasn't used much if we had it, or
you
that
got
was already
one that
relatively
is
low.
on the back of the page, other capital outlay.
I wouldn't deem that
That
capital
wouldn't be
outlay.
capital.
No, okay.
The problem is I don't know what our capitalization policy is, what dollar amount.
Okay,
And the vest wouldn't fall under a
Just
capital item.
do,
okay.
just do operating supplies. I mean, or is that what you were saying, operating
Yeah.
supplies? So,
Yep.
if, let's say, first of all, we need a resolution and, oh man, what number are we on? 13? Can we pause for just a second? Can we,
Yeah, why don't,
I don't
did you have
think we did.
anything else?
I don't
And
think
then,
we
and then
did.
we can go to, while Brenna's doing her report, you can look
Okay,
it up. and
yeah.
then
Yeah,
we'll
you
go
got
back to
anything else?
I do.
that's
All
fine.
right. Hit it. It's the Motorola package, huh?
We're on the Nutrient Company. For the past couple years, we've been lucky on the fire department side and on Brenda's community center side on getting funds from the Nutrient Company, which is down there off of Patty's Run Road. In 2021, we were given funds for 2 MDCs, mobile data computers, of 2,500. Due to stock issues, supply issues, they were not available at that time. The company that we deal with these computers now have them in stock. However, when I did the grant request to now, the price has gone up a little bit. So also in your packet there, I gave you the cost for the 2 computers, hardware and keyboards, $3,285.82. So the difference is $785.82. So I'm asking for approval to make up that difference so that we can purchase these mobile data computers.
The problem with this, again, is this will require a supplemental appropriation if we receive that money in 2021.
Which we did.
The funds are not there for that. It's in the bank, but he didn't spend it in 2021, so it goes back into the bank. So if he wants to spend it now, we need to just increase the supplemental appropriation to whatever the number is, and we'll get it all done at one time. That's my thought. Now, that's,
How much was it?
785.82.
Yeah.
785?
3,000.
For the computers, $3,285.
Oh, yeah, it was,
It's
yeah, I'm
on your,
sorry.
it was after the rear view camera. CDWG quote confirmation.
And Brian, when you were talking about supplemental appropriations, do you know which account you were looking at supplementing?
2111. Uh, 2111 to 2420 is what the 10,000 was going to go for, and
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
the
the
3,000.
need to supplement because of this computer
do
purchase.
2111 to 2430. That's minor equipment, which I would deem computers minor equipment.
Yeah.
Or you could do, I don't know if you really want to use 21,760, 740, machinery, equipment, and furniture. That's more of a capital item.
Well, and then the other thing I'm looking at is if we have some account codes here. I mean, we have the authority to move money within the within the fund level. So, there may be accounts in here that's any 2111 account that if we, if we're doing really well and we have a surplus, we might be able to move to cover an amount like that without doing a supplemental appropriation. But it may just be cleaner to do a supplemental appropriation. We're already doing one anyway.
I'd rather ask for too much than not enough. It'll all go back anyhow if we don't spend it.
I guess my preference for the trustees would be to do actually one supplemental appropriation. I would draft a resolution when I take a break in a second. Do one resolution that is a supplemental appropriation that covers the amount for the computer purchase if that's approved by the trustees, and also the $10,000 from the gift, because it's all gonna it all fits within operating supplies.
Yeah.
That's the way I would do it. Is that what you're thinking of, Brian?
Yes.
And the same thing, because this computer company we have not have history with, they're requesting a PO to make that happen.
Right.
A purchase order number.
So that number was 3,000 total. The total number.
$3,285.82.
Okay, that includes the the extra, the difference from last time.
Yes.
Okay. So what I would encourage the trustees to do is to basically do a supplemental appropriation of 14,000.
Okay.
It's not a specific order for those things. It's an appropriation that covers those expenses.
So we have to do that by resolution, or?
Yeah, just give me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll Brian, if you wouldn't mind taking over from this point, I'll draft that real quick and make sure I have the correct number on it.
Okay.
Then the last thing I had, for quite some time, I've been trying to find funds or grants for new portable radios and main radios. They no longer make parts for the radios that we currently use, and our vendors that service the radios can no longer find parts to repair them. Just talking off the record with Brian, I want to know if it was possible to use out of the firefighter fund 2191-760-740, which talks about machinery, equipment, and furniture, to use that as a one-time expenditure to replace these radios. The cost of the radios are right there for you. You will see two quotes. And the reason why there are two quotes is because the second quote has two radios for the new engine, which will be here sometime this fall, at the end of this year. They can ship those two radios quicker than they can a whole list of portable radios, batteries, microphones, and mobile radios. That guarantees we get those two radios first before everything else for that new fire engine. I think Chuck was here when I tried to do this a couple years ago. Every grant I have tried to get for the mobile and portable radios, grants are hit and miss. We've gotten some grants for certain things. We haven't gotten grants for other things.
So what figure are we looking at? 7754?
We're looking at
45?
Nope. $156,371.67. That's the two combined together.
Oh,
The two quotes combined
That's those
together.
two quotes combined.
Correct.
Say that number again.
$156,371.67. If we can take the funds out of that 2191, 760, 740.
790, the 100,000.
I'm sorry?
The 100,000 that you're talking about in 2191,
Yes,
that's out of 790. 2191, 760, 790.
790? Okay.
So you just want 100,000?
156 for the two quotes combined.
You don't have 156,000 in there.
I thought it showed to have almost 500,000.
Then you'll need a supplemental appropriation if you want to get the 156,000 in there then.
The copy I have is from 8/2 of '23. Total cash balance of just shy of 500,000.
They lost.
Right, you have the money in there, but it's not appropriated.
Correct, yes, so I'm asking for, yes, correct.
You lost me on that one.
If you order it now, that lock in the price. Is that right, Jason?
I'm sorry, say that again?
If you order it now, it would lock the price at 156.
It would,
Okay. Even though you're gonna pay it until it deliver.
correct.
Funds
Yep.
I'm looking at.
No payment until delivery of the radios.
The radios, they're the ones you can install yourself, or they are mobiles, or
The mobiles are attached to the actual vehicles themselves, and the portables, the handhelds, are what we carry on the vehicles.
Which page is this on?
I would guess if you order those, they probably want you to have a push orders so that we put the 156 available, could buy it.
We would get the two radios first, priority, because the vehicle will be here sometime this year.
Yeah, I would think they want you to have a copy of the purchase order.
Oh, they will need a copy of the purchase order.
That's a lot of money.
Is there anyone else that does this that you can get a quote from other than Motorola, or?
No, that's not, I'm aware of. It's the Motorola, Mobilecom. That's part of the dispatch center, and they service the radios, lights. They come in once a year and service update our handheld radios, portable radios.
Right.
There's no other company that I'm aware of in this area.
What's the other one? There's another one.
This is one. They have no money in that one. We got 197 left. But I think we're gonna. But I think, is that where they're gonna pay for,
Yeah, yeah.
Fort Scott out of here?
It's the ones on the intersection, right?
In the meantime, I've got a question for the trustees. Ooh,
Yeah.
and maybe I
What
forget.
kind of signs are there?
What's the going plan on what we're going to use the rest of this ARP money on?
It's like business sign or
Was
something?
it
Our
gonna be
chief's
for the
car.
roads? Yeah,
All right.
Isn't that
Shelter.
already paid for?
that is, I think.
Huh?
The chief's car is paid for, right?
It came out of the ARP funds.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the shelter,
As long as they're not on.
Is that
some-
paid
chief's
for?
car, and then we should have like 20-some thousand left.
Yeah.
And we were gonna,
Okay.
if we needed it for the paving or whatever.
So it's the shelter. The shelter's not paid for yet.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure because that stuff that needs to go. So that's
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we
So
need
it's
to
gonna
spend
be
it.
gone this year.
Understood. I was
Yeah.
making sure it was earmarked. So
Gotcha.
basically,
I'll take care of it.
if this kind of expenditure would be approved, it would basically take all of the remaining funds out of the 2191 fund, plus there would need to be, it would need to be, it's really, it's not a supplemental appropriation issue, because like Brian said, that those funds are not available.
Can we table this till next month to try to wrap ourselves around it? I mean, this is a big hit to make a quick decision on. I mean, I know you need it.
We have time.
Do we?
Yeah.
All right, why don't we
Yeah,
take and
let's-
table this until next month, so you guys can do your creative financing. And we'll cross that bridge. But we still need to do the other
He's still gonna
business.
he has to write that up.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
I do not.
I had a couple questions. Simple questions. I know we talked about before. Do you know if any of those 2 fire hydrants ever got fixed that got reported? There was the one on Mount Hope Road by the school and church, and then there was someone in,
Strimple.
yeah,
Strimple.
that one, but then there was another one that someone,
Well, there was one on New Haven Road Hill that the water was exposing deep so that it
Let
didn't
me get with
freeze.
Waterworks tomorrow.
and then who, do we or do they paint the hydrants?
We have to.
Okay, because some of them are getting really rusty looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them starting to look pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Along 128, there's quite a few.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of, how many fire hydrants are in Crosby Township?
If I recall, 600 and 500 and some odd.
Is there?
Yeah. Just shy of 600.
And then,
Strimple Road, and where was the other hydrant at?
Someone had emailed me, and I thought it was I'm not sure. It could have been near Fort Scott or
One
something.
in Fort Scott with
yeah,
an
that was the
Oxford
one.
sign on it, and that has been taken care of, from what Waterworks tells me.
And then, are you aware of that OTARMA? I always have that they have grants like for fire and that was in their catalog.
Brian gave me a piece of literature on that.
It was in their magazine. There's for training, safety equipment. Then there's a more grant that's for personal protective equipment, defibrillators, fire extinguishers, lighting, first aid kits, fireproofing cabinets, and more.
If you can make a copy of that and put it in my
You can.
mailbox.
I'll give it to you.
Okay. All right. Thank
That's
you.
all I have.
Okay.
So yeah, so we can move on, and we'll come back to Brenda.
Ready for me? Okay. Well, in the month of August, there were 13 events that were planned and attended by various senior members. I just didn't bring the whole list again, but I brought you a list of what we were going to do, and then we actually did it. They were, meaning the seniors were flexible about the different venues we went to, and I think they actually enjoyed and just learning some new things in the places that we went to around town here. So it was a good way to spend some time when we couldn't get in to the building. Last week was the second trip to Madison, Indiana, where we rode the Rock and Thunder Ohio Riverboat excursion to Louisville, Kentucky for lunch. We learned a lot about the history of the area along the way. Rick and his wife went with us, and the captain would stop and give you just the story and the history of different places and things. I thought it was fascinating. He did a good job of knowing his history for the Madison area and the river. The first boat trip, the passengers saw 11 eagles along the route. That was really cool. And there were a total of 25 over last week. Out of the 2 trips, 25 people attended. So that was really a well-attended and enjoyable trip for everyone. And then I've just continued this last month to field the calls, the emails, et cetera, for general township business. And I've been doing a lot of scheduling lately for organizations and groups for the school year, or for for this whole next winter till spring. So I'm trying to keep all that real straight. But that's basically what we've been doing.
Do you want your office put back into where it was, or you want to go into the other building, other room?
Well, I'd like to talk with you about just some ideas and hear your feedback. I'm not positive. I don't have a definitive answer, but I think there's pros and cons, and so I thought I'd just see what you all thought of what I was thinking, if we have time sometime.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for asking.
Thanks, Brenda.
What we're gonna do with the office, we're gonna cut the glass out.
No, I was, originally the office was in where the books are.
Right.
So, if she thought that it was a better environment in there than where she currently was at, I would suggest moving the books into the other room and freeing up the conference room for her office. So
back where you started,
Back where we started, that's right.
So, it's something to talk about, since everything is
right
in flux right now. So
good point.
You just need to come up with what you want to do.
Well, thank you.
So that's all.
I thought maybe take out the glass and make the eggs. So, but choice is Brenda. Or another place, if you can think of it.
There you go. Well, thank you. And everything looks very nice in here. I think we're in process of just a really nice update. The floor looks great. Good job.
Yeah, get a shot of the floor so everybody can see that.
That's right.
Matt, you want to do your report, or should I skip you? Are you ready?
I was ready as I'll ever be.
Okay.
I just have to sift through the stuff that we kind of already went over. First of all, I'll mention that the audit from the state is ongoing.
That's 2021.
They're 2-year audits. It's 2021. Yes. Covered that. Covered that. Brian had prepared some stuff and distributed to the trustees related to the assessment, the reassessment of the properties in the township. That's already been covered, really.
Yep.
I mean, the reality is it's an individual thing, per property, but I guess I would just reiterate to anyone watching online that the reassessments, they're here. You should have seen them by now. It's coming, and it's really unavoidable, and it's gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of where the differences will be as people's properties are reassessed is, has there been recent sales nearby? And that's going to be a big deal, or a recent sale. It's like if you're someone that's recently moved into the township or recently purchased your property, you may get affected a little more because you're going to be close to that, really volatile market price of the last year and a half. Or last 2 years, really, that's gonna be a big deal. I would suspect that in the more rural parts of the township where, there may not be as much turnover in properties, it may be a little easier on the, on the possible increase or reassessment. But, so I guess for the people watching, I would just advise that. I think that's all I got for right now. Brian, anything else? What's that? I told him it was ongoing. It has very much officially began. We've had meetings, conference calls with the folks. We've been sending them stuff. They've sent series of questions, and that's about it.
Okay.
Did you want to do that resolution?
Oh yeah, we can do that resolution now too. I have here prepared proposed resolution 13-2023, and this would adopt a resolution that would amend the permanent appropriations for 2023 to reflect an increase in appropriations for Fund 2111-220-420 operating expenses by $14,000 to $32,000 even. And just to reiterate, that's to reflect the $10,000 gift to the fire department that would need to be appropriated, as well as to appropriate monies that would have been spent last year that weren't able to be spent in those operating expenses for that purchase.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
All right, I will pass this down for your signatures.
Is that all you have?
Yes, sir.
Is anything else for Matt?
Nope.
Okay, zoning, rec.
We had one zoning permit issued last month to American Heritage Construction for a new home up in Fort Scott. We also have a BZA meeting September 19th, 6:30 p.m. It's for a variance. And the zoning commission is going to meet every first Monday of the month to review the zoning book. And that's all I have.
That's every first, what?
First Monday of every month.
To review the zoning plan?
Zoning book.
Zoning book?
You had that meeting on August 30th. That was for a structure or something. Did that go good, or?
We didn't have enough BZA members to show up, so we gave the opportunity to the homeowner to either stay there that night to get a decision from a 3-member board or to reschedule. He decided to reschedule.
Thank you.
What about zoning and dispensaries for?
They're reviewing that right now as we speak.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a phone call about that. Somebody's pretty desperate.
I got those phone calls.
Okay.
Is that person even local, or are they from?
No, they're out of either Arizona or California.
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Dispensaries.
Marijuana.
Marijuana and oil and stuff. All right.
All right, thanks, Rick. Old business, I have none. Dennis?
None.
Chuck?
None.
New business, I know we talked about, and Brian has brought it up, about having a planning and organizing meeting, like that, where people would propose what they want for the next year before the budgets appropriations are made. I thought maybe November 6th, which would be a week before our November meeting, so that's a Monday at 7 o'clock. If that's okay with the trustees, or do you have another idea? That'd be 2 meetings then before the end of the year when he would have to have the.
That work for you?
Yeah, well,
Huh?
Yeah, that,
Is that the day before election?
yes.
They're usually setting up and everything.
And we could have it in another room. It'd
Oh,
basically
okay,
just
I
us
wasn't sure how
probably.
big a meeting.
Yeah, we could have it in the conference
Yeah.
room.
Got it.
We could vote early.
There you go.
So that's November the 6th,
Yeah.
7, 8, 9? What time?
6th.
6?
Yes.
Did you say 6 o'clock?
7
The
o'clock.
6 at 7 or?
Yeah, at 7
Oh,
o'clock.
that's what I'm saying. It's at
Oh, I'm
7.
sorry. I thought you were talking about the date.
No.
Sorry.
7 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it, mention it again next month, just to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, and it's, I mean,
have to
that's,
advertise that.
it's, yeah, we're gonna have to, Brian, would you mind getting that in register publication legals? So I just gotta make sure I get that on there right. November 6th. 7 p.m. I'm gonna call that Township Budget Planning Meeting. And yeah, I'd support it very much. That for the next year, this really should take this will take place, will need to take place really at the end of May. Like when we're at the January organizational meeting, and we ask the different departments for their budget requests and stuff. Essentially, that's what we're asking for. So it's just another step in getting to where we need to be in the budgeting process.
All right, that's all I have. Dennis?
None.
Chuck?
None.
Other concerns?
Yeah. Asphalt.
Well, we're going back.
I would suggest we take 10 to 15 minutes to read over the proposals. And then if we can't come to a conclusion, we can't come to a conclusion. But I think that be my recommendation that we don't do anything down at the firehouse if we're going to do some construction down there next year. So we haven't really talked about that, but the chief has gotten a proposal. I was talking to Bob, the guy that's doing the intermediate out here on the
Bob May.
Yeah, Bob Mays, and he was going to start giving me some information. I told him I had so many irons in the fire with everything that was going on. I would wait until after the first of the year. So we'll take and look at the firehouse upgrade after the first of the year, and then we'll have our budget. We'll have a pretty good idea of what kind of funds we have after we go through all this. It'll be interesting. So is everybody on board? Take about 10 or 15 minutes to look over this stuff and then try to reach an agreement tonight? Okay. One other thing, I guess everything's done on the construction end and the painting here, or?
Well, the painting, they used two different paints. One of them's flat, the other one's got a sheen to it.
We want a flat.
And the other room, Brenda's office, the drywall repair telegraphs through the shiny paint. They didn't prime it. They must not have primed it before they put the sheen color. So
But we gave them the paint to use, right?
I don't know why we had to give them paint.
Huh?
I don't know why we had to supply them paint.
Pink?
That should have been part of their contract, they would have bought the paint.
Well, we had the paint left over back there.
That's the problem here, is they ran out of paint, and then the paint we gave them must not have matched up with this. is what they're saying.
Well, you can see where they quit painting.
Because they only had like less than half a gallon.
Right.
Did it the first time, and then you got any more paint? And I found like part of a gallon in the back, and it's not the same.
Yeah, well, that was kind of probably half our fault on that.
To me, they should have supplied the paint.
I know, but, you know, we had the paint, we had some paint. It was,
Well, and I don't want to pile on here to them, but Mr. Jackson spent 4 hours today cleaning up their mess so we could have this meeting.
It was a mess last night, 'cause I came in sunshine.
they still had the dust around.
Oh, it was
They never-
because I thought
It
we're having a
actually
meeting
was,
here.
it was almost 8 hours. He did 4 lunch and then
Yeah.
came back to get it
Yeah,
ready.
he came back to do it.
Yeah, it was
It was a
a
big
mess
job.
in here.
Well, I'll leave it up to you how you want to handle this with this paint.
Well, since we gave them the paint because we thought it was the right paint, and then we kind of shot ourselves in the foot on that, so, you know, I'd just like to take, if we have to repaint,
The pink paint is the right paint in there.
it's just the wrong sheen.
Well, it's not the wrong sheen, it's just that the drywall repair that they did telegraphs through that shiny paint. And it should have been primed over and then the gloss.
So Brenda, do you want it a different color?
Oh my goodness, I never even thought about that.
I'd just soon, you know, we beat this animal to death a while.
Let me ask you this. Are you saying that, if I understand you, Rick, you're not talking particularly about the color of the sheen, but the fact that the drywall markings or whatever you said comes through, or you can see
They didn't
where,
prime it.
where it was
Yeah,
done? Is that
see you
what you're
later,
saying?
Alan.
Okay, that's more of rather than a cosmetic thing, I mean, like a color, it's more of a problem with the way that the drywall was painted or not primed or
It
whatever.
wasn't primed.
Right?
So my question is if just repaint the whole room and be done with it,
If you want to change colors, it'd be the time to do it.
right?
All right, let me have overnight. Think about a color. But if that will fix it.
Because we got to pay that bill, right?
Yeah.
Haven't paid it yet.
Yeah. So,
Well, see, the thing is like, I don't know if you can see it there, they stopped one paint and the other, and that, back in the other room, they had a bunch of skips, which didn't get painted, but unless you want the maintenance people to finish this stuff up, and just be done with it?
that has to be done with the fire service.
Okay.
The fire chief doesn't have a key to take that off, maintenance doesn't have a key to take that off. So we're gonna have to get Johnson Controls to come back in and reset those boxes, according to what I've been told. So that's gonna happen. As far as the rest of the paint, if we have to repaint the whole wall to make it look halfway decent, it's not that big of a cost. I would paint the whole damn wall and be done with it.
That's what should be done, it would look better that way.
Right.
It won't take that long.
Right, it won't take that long, but I would just go ahead and paint it ourselves and repaint her office if she wants it lime green or orange or purple, you know, we'll just repaint it.
Well, if you're gonna do that, then they're gonna.
Yeah, okay. But I can call him up and tell him they didn't clean up their mess,
Well, there's paint splatter also.
and that shouldn't be there.
On your new floor.
Yeah. All right. but,
Won't happen until next week.
huh?
It won't get paid till next
Right,
week.
because that's when the checks will get cut.
I won't be here, so.
Oh. Okay. All right. We got that taken care of.
Good night.
Yeah,
I'm good?
you're good.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too, thanks.
Step on that.
They all list separately the firehouse.
Huh?
They all list the firehouse separately.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the only one that doesn't is, I think it was Bear. Let me look. Yeah, Bear combined them all together. Bear shows two different totals, but the grand total's on the second page.
Well, there's the 19, and then what's the 34 on the back?
That's 19 plus, I'm looking at it right.
Yeah, this one confuses me.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the 15.9 is, but I think that's what they're grand totaling the two.
Is what?
The 15.9 on the second page you see at the top, and then on the first page the 19,000.
And then the 34 one.
It's almost as if I'm missing a page. I mean, but that's what
You
Harry
have
gave
3
me.
pages?
This is what Harry gave me, so I'm.
Oh, 'cause
They
Bear,
actually
like the last page is 34,100.
Yeah. Let me look through my emails, make sure that I don't have something different.
It's kind of confusing.
It's very confusing. Let's see.
Okay, so the fire department is 59.
Okay, the fire department's included in
Yeah, on Bears.
19,000.
Yes.
But then what is the 30, what's the 34?
On the first page, the 18.2 and the 15.9.
But where's the 15.9 come from?
Yeah, they're like both,
Page section of senior center. Here, the 18.2.
Yeah, this third page should be stapled in on this as the second page. That's
Guess-
where,
am
that's
I
where it's
missing-
screwed up.
I only got two.
Because 18.2 and 15.9 is 34.1.
Oh, yeah, I am missing.
So that's where the screw up is.
I got you.
And that's, the 19,000's got the
There is two
fire
pages.
department. So this is the way it should be. This page and then the last
Yeah.
page.
The 15.9.
then what's the the very last, what's the 19,000?
Because the 18.2 includes the fire department also.
Oh, it does, doesn't
But
it?
if you also see, there's two different sales reps and there's two different estimate numbers.
So one gave a 19,000, one gave a 34,000?
No.
Yeah,
it's
see,
just-
I don't understand it.
Yeah, what's the 19,000 then?
It's, yeah, there's. Crack and fill, maintenance, building, walking path, fire department, crack fills, approximately, scope of work, clean, furnish,
They're done on the same day.
Yeah, one's 19,000, the other one's 18.2, so go figure. Two different estimate numbers. So I can't see, they're both printed the same. All right, look at something else.
I'm gonna look at this. This one's local more, this Cleves. And they have it, so they would be 33,545 less 5950 if we didn't do the firehouse, correct?
Is that the one you're talking about that says 25 years of excellence? That's how.
Yeah.
Is that Hal?
Yeah, that's how.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for that.
How do you, is that HOWE?
Yes.
All right, so we're not looking at the fire department.
Yeah, so that'd be 5950 less. Did you check any kind of ratings on that, either of them,
Like I said, I don't know anything about Blacktop.
No, I meant just going online and with these companies, I mean, seeing their ratings.
Oh, no, I did not. No. No, these were just the bigger business ones that you know are more local to us. I've seen. I think Hal did. They did the ceiling over at the high school. I think just recently.
Hal did?
Yeah.
Hal's been pretty busy in the area lately.
Yeah.
They've
And Harry, I guess he's seen some of Bear's work. That's why he liked them. So. And then I think the Cincinnati Asphalt, I got the number from Matt, right? Yep. Yeah, I have no idea about them, though. I don't know anything about asphalt.
Yeah, they're located over on Pilot Road behind Bud Herbert.
And the only one I actually understood was Cincinnati Asphalt. One of their salesmen has called me at least once a week trying to explain everything to me. And that's where I got all I wrote down all the prices on the separate sheets. So you can see exactly his option 1 and option 2, and you can see it. His prices are a little higher. They said they were going to try to be here tonight to explain it to you, why they're so much higher than the other guys, and why you should do it this way versus this way, but nobody showed. So.
So we don't have a picture. Hal says there's a picture where the stuff was marked in green.
I probably didn't print it, to be honest with you.
If you got it.
Or if Harry got it in his email, I'm not. I got one in my email and Harry got one in his.
Yeah.
So it's. Let's see here. Was that Hal that you said?
Yeah. Option 1.
So it's another addition if we did that. So that asphalt repairs in addition to the estimate? Oh no, never mind. So they would do this and this, and that was the 20 for that. And then that's what it would be without the firehouse, correct? Because here it said grand total 33 on top.
Right.
But it was 59.50 for the fire department, so it would be 27,595. Yeah. And they're gonna. I did see that was marked in green when I was here a while back. I saw it, but I guess it's not there anymore. So they would cut those out.
Yeah, I didn't get any pictures.
Okay.
I've got both of them estimates on my email. The one thing that did make sense, guys, is Cincinnati Asphalt was saying that we can patch this, but next year we're going to have to patch right next to it because this part's going to break, and eventually it's going to look like a bunch of patchwork. He said it's better off just to go ahead and cut it out and redo it. If that, because we had that happen over at the mobile home park. That's the only reason why I know about that. You know, over the years, it's you're patching and patching and patching. Eventually, it just looks like a giant quilt of asphalt. If that makes sense, you know. But I think that Cincinnati Asphalt was the only one that gave that option of replacing the whole thing.
The other thing we need to remember is that Cincinnati Asphalt was like $60-some thousand. We can't do that. We need to, if we do that, it needs to be competitively bid because it's over 50 grand.
Right.
Unless we wait until October the 3rd.
When it goes up to 75.
It goes up to 75 and we can do it then. And like Mike was saying, you know, if we redo, you know, grind and pave, put 2 inches down, you know, we don't drive on it this much, that should last 20 years. You know, the city of Cincinnati on a residential street estimates that a residential street should last 20 years, 20 to 25 years. You know, if we just seal it and fix the cracks, you know, that seal only lasts a few years and we're going to do it again. So, you know, that's the decision you guys have to make.
Well, see.
And the thing is I don't know if we really have any money in the budget to do this right now.
Well, what I was just talking with Brian is, I mean, if you make a decision to do any of this with any of these people, I mean, it's general fund because we're talking about community center work. So, I mean, there's money there, but I would just have to run back and do a supplemental appropriation real quick because there's no easy place to.
Is this something we can wait till next year and budget, or is this something we need to do right away? If we're going to grind it, then we may as well wait. Another year is not going to make a difference.
Yeah, we're not going to have no giant potholes out there or nothing. I mean, I know that much, but
it's just that it was left go too long now.
Right.
Well,
but there again, like I said, we have roads that, you know, look like puzzle pieces. I think you live on one. You know, it's a disaster in New Baltimore. Some of the roads they've never been paved since like the 50s or 60s. They've never been redone.
You know, what I'm looking at here is on Cincinnati Asphalt, and I don't know about the others. They got the maintenance building parking lot in on the bid. We don't really need to do that. That's just.
I hope not.
Well, the seal coat, we do need to seal it. so it doesn't crack. That's the purpose of the
Says
seal
crack
coat.
fill and seal coat.
Right, you crack fill and seal coat it. That's to prevent it from cracking, or from damaging it more.
Yeah, I say table it, and we'll think about it, and then if we don't do anything about it, we don't do anything about it.
Well, there's some benefit of addressing it in October, like Brian said, potentially, depending on what you decide to do.
Right. But I'm
Well,
not
if
gonna
we're
sit
gonna-
here and try
It's not a money issue. It's logistics with us. We can do a supplemental
Well,
appropriation.
if
That's
we're
not
gonna
a,
grind it, I think we should have the other two people bid that out then too. Because they didn't bid that.
Yeah, I didn't know they were
You
gonna,
ask them to do that?
I didn't know they were gonna do that, Cincinnati Asphalt in the beginning. I didn't,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was pretty cool that they did it, but if I would have known, I would have told the other two people, hey,
Well, you could ask them to come back and
I can,
add
yeah.
that to it, but not the, not the firehouse, to take that out.
So we're gonna eliminate the firehouse
For this,
completely
yeah.
for now, until we get,
And just this and,
yeah, when he went to him, he was like, okay, here's our issue. What would you,
yeah,
What
because
would
I
you-
don't really
what would you
know.
do? What would
I don't
you
know how to
propose?
repair it. I don't know how to, I'm learning on the fly,
Well, if we're gonna grind it, it's not gonna make any difference when we do it. So if you wanna wait and do it next year for budgeting purposes, we can. We have money
Yeah, if
in the road fund. Let's do it this way.
it wouldn't be road fund.
Let's do it this way.
It'd be site improvement out of the general fund.
Would it?
I think so, because it would be either
not a road.
parks related or community center related,
Yeah.
and that's why I call it improvement of sites. It's like part of the site of like where this sits. So I think it's general fund because it's just not road.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just take and think about it until the next meeting.
Okay.
That work for you, Mike?
Sure.
Because, I'll agree with you, that should be sealed over there in front of the maintenance building, but then this out here probably ought to be ground out.
Yeah.
Then it would last 20 years.
My only concern with waiting too long is isn't there a certain time that the asphalt manufacturers shut down? during
well,
the
we
winter?
would wait till next year then.
Yeah, that's the only thing about
we'll
waiting.
cross that bridge. I've seen them lay asphalt in November.
Oh, yeah, usually,
I mean,
might do until December.
Yeah, I don't
sometime.
know. I
Right,
don't know
they-
the time frame.
it just depends on the year
heard
and
the
who's got
stories.
what. If they got the work out there that they need to get done, then they'll keep the asphalt plants rolling. Because there's times when I thought, why, but they were laying asphalt in November.
Yeah, I don't know the time frames. I just heard the stories that they shut
Yeah.
down.
All right. Hate to put that off, but we had a lot of stuff here tonight, and we're just gonna have to think about this.
And if we're gonna, like I said, if we're gonna grind it, then it's not gonna matter going
Yeah,
through another winter.
Right.
So
they
do you
can
guys
next-
want me to go ahead and call the other
Yeah.
two? Okay.
And then have them eliminate the fire department and add an option of grinding just this parking lot. Any more concerns?
My only other thing, the old fire chief car, we are no longer going to be using it.
Yeah, we need to.
It's sitting outside. You guys can decide what you want to do with it. It can be wait until next month. It's locked up. It's sitting outside. We don't have room for it.
What you propose?
We have to put up the auction probably.
If you got to auction it, try to auction it.
It-
If it doesn't auction, stick
You have to. It would be that Hamilton County like we try to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to the
just-
fire chief, see who
Yeah.
his contact, and go ahead and put it on the auction site.
okay. All right.
It's in pretty bad shape. I mean,
Do we want to have a minimum?
Actually, it's not. It's
Do we want a
it's just
minimum
old.
bid on the car?
old, but yeah.
Oh,
Runs great.
$1,000. I think I'd put a minimum bid of
$1,000 minimum?
$1,000 on it.
Get new towers for one thing, to dry rot it.
What?
The towers, dry rot it.
The tires.
Oh, the tires are dry routed?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it, it's,
So,
I would put $1,000 minimum bid on it.
All right.
We don't have to vote on that, do we?
Huh?
We don't have to vote on that, do we?
No,
All right.
not that I know of.
Recommend talking to Chief Davis about
Yeah,
the
get
process.
the name,
Yeah.
protocol.
All right.
Adjourn.
And that's the what vehicle is that? That's
It's
the
a Crown Vic. It's the old fire chief car that they took over here.
The fire department didn't want it, so Harry was using it to just run errands, but they got enough other pickups and stuff.
Yeah,
that-
we don't need that.
And we're paying insurance on it and get it out of here.
the other question I have, the new Baltimore, is that building empty completely now after that fire truck?
Yeah, we're
think,
done.
Yeah, I think there's
We'll be-
just a fire truck, and there might be some miscellaneous stuff that goes to New Baltimore's firehouse.
You can kind of leave it there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
everything
pretty
that's
much
left in
washing our
there is
hands now.
supposed to be the,
So speaking of that firehouse, do we still do the lawn care maintenance around there?
after we get the fire truck out of there by the 1st of October, if that truck's out of there, I'd say pull the sign and we're done.
I was just gonna say you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, we got a sign out there too, yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't pull the sign until the fire truck leaves.
Okay.
Then when the fire truck leaves, I'd pull the sign if you put it
Yeah.
out here in front or whatever.
And then we can cancel any insurance we might have.
Right.
Who actually owns the property? Building.
That goes with the New Baltimore Volunteer Fire Auxiliary.
So that entity still
Nothing.
exists and
Yep.
owns the building?
That entity still exists.
Okay.
And that's who our lease agreement is with.
Understood. Thank you.
But we need to bone up on that lease agreement and see what the steps are to get out of that lease. If we
Okay.
gotta give them 30 days notice or,
To follow up on that, we're paying the electric bill over there.
right?
Do we call and stop that?
I would after October.
Okay.
Well, I would recommend you consult your attorney about getting out of the lease.
Okay.
That would be the first thing.
We wanna do
Because
it right.
if you cut something off and that happens to damage something
Froze
because
or
of the fact that you
something.
did it, some
Frozen
freeze, I don't
pipes.
know, whatever.
Well, we're already gonna get, there's gonna be another storm coming on this one.
Sure,
yet.
sure. But that would be that's I think that's the first step.
Yep. Okay, I'll get a hold of Alan and tell him to look at that while he's,
Do we
looking
pay
at-
rent on that every month?
Huh?
Do we pay any rent on that?
no, it was supposed to be
Just
$1 a
electric.
year.
But we're just paying
But we
electric
were
and
supposed to keep the
insurance.
maintenance up on the
Right.
building and nobody did anything. So,
All right, our next regular business meeting will be October 9th, 2023 at 7 PM. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
second.
Roll call.
Bowman,
Yes.
I am.
Yeah.
Ice.
Yes.
Time you got there?
9:34 PM.
PM, you sure?